Hello, welcome to Library 101, Essential Toolkit for First-Year Students. My name is Linda Cifelli. I'm one of the librarians working in Kean University's Nancy Thompson Learning Commons, and thank you for reviewing today's recorded webinar. During today's session, we'll focus on a number of things that we hope will be useful for first-year students at Kean University. For instance, we'll talk about some of the important research support and learning support services that are available to Kean students in the Learning Commons, but we'll also focus on some important library resources, such as the WorldCat Discovery Database that could be used to access things like books and ebooks, but even articles and videos. We'll also highlight some of the key databases that are available to help with common first-year courses. We'll also take a little bit of time to focus on how students can connect Google Scholar to the Kean Library resources. And finally, we'll cover a variety of ways that students can contact a librarian whenever they need help with their research assignments. So I'm going to go ahead and make my way over to the Kean University website and just wanted to take a look at the quick way that anyone can access the Learning Commons and library resources from the Kean website. So for instance, if you click on quick links up in the top right corner, the very first link is to the Learning Commons. So we'll click on that. The Learning Commons link brings you to our Learning Commons website, which does include library services as well as learning support services. And just to give you a quick overview of the website, from this site, you can access a number of things, including the learning support services. There is a blue circle on the left side of the screen. If you click on that blue circle with the label Learning Support Services, you can gather some information about tutoring, writing services, public speaking services, academic coaching, and also supplemental instruction. You can click on any of these circles to get information about these various services. And you can also book a session for tutoring or for writing and so on. There's a book a session button. Just click on that, log in with your Kean email credentials, and then you can schedule appointments. Just go back to the home page. You can also schedule appointments with a librarian. For instance, you could either click on the yellow library services circle towards the bottom of the screen, and then just scroll down, and in the bottom left corner, there's a make an appointment link right here. And then you can either choose a librarian or leave it on no preference. And basically, you will see our office hours or when you can book an appointment slot. Just find a date that you would like to schedule for, choose a time that works for you, and then just go in and fill out the form. But you can actually also, you can access this form as well right from the Learning Commons website simply by clicking on the Ask Us link that appears up in the top right corner of the page. Click Ask Us, and then on the left there's Make a Research Appointment, this button on the left side of the screen. So it brings you to the same appointment scheduler. So definitely take advantage of these appointment options. We're here to help, so just let us know when you need to either sit down with us in person or to schedule a virtual appointment. We can do either way. But there's also another way that you can contact a librarian and get help with your research or also with other questions that you might have. There is a Learning Commons support chat window that appears in the bottom right corner of the website. This chat service is truly available 24/7. So when you send questions through the chat window, if it's during the day when the Learning Commons is open, um, it's likely that a Kean librarian will pick up your question and help you out through the chat window. But if you happen to send a question after hours when our building is closed, or on a holiday, for instance, what will happen in those cases is a librarian from another library outside of Kean will pick up. And sometimes you'll find that you have librarians from other time zones picking up questions that come through at, say, 2 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning. But these librarians from other places will do a very good job of trying to help you with your questions as well. So definitely take advantage of these options that are available to you. And one last thing to mention before we dive into some of the research tools is we do have a workshops link on our Learning Commons website. It's this green circle. And when you click there, you'll see that we are offering a variety of workshops, some in person, some online throughout the semester. And these, in some cases, are offered by librarians. In other cases, they're offered by the tutoring center or writing services. We do encourage you to take advantage of these workshop offerings. So they're meant to help you to get acclimated to life on a college campus and to do well in your classes. So do take advantage of those workshop offerings. So I'm just going to go back and right on our website, we'll shift gears a little bit and focus now on some of the research tools that are available. And what I'll do is I will highlight some of the tools that will likely be helpful with some common first year courses, such as college composition, maybe the speech communication as critical citizenship course or worlds of history. There are other courses that we could focus on as well, but we'll try to touch base and make sure that you are aware of some of the tools that can help you to gather information for the various assignments that you'll complete for these courses. And I would like to focus at first on the database that appears right here in the middle of our Learning Commons website. We have this database called WorldCat Discovery, and notice how the search box is right here. And this is a really handy tool whenever you want to check to see if we have a library book or an ebook that you can use for your course. You could also use it to look for articles or even videos. So for instance, for the fall 2023 semester, I understand that the common read book is called The Future is Disabled. And we've had a number of students who are already checking to see if we have this book available through the Learning Commons. And I do understand that students can get a copy as well through the through general studies. However, if you did want to check to see if we can access the ebook version of this book, you could certainly do a title search right here in the WorldCat Discovery database. It's really as simple as just typing in the title, and I'm not going to type in the word the, but I will type in future is disabled. I am going to enclose it inside quotation marks. And that simply tells the database to do a phrase search on those exact words as a 3-word phrase. So when we run the search for this title, sure enough, the book does come up, and we can see here that we have a record in our WorldCat database for the book called The Future is Disabled, Prophecies, Love Notes, and Morning Songs. It does indicate that the book is not available as a print book in our collection at the moment. Apparently it's been checked out by somebody, so we did at some point have a print version of the book. However, we do have an ebook version available to everyone as well. So we have the view ebook button right here. We could click, and sometimes it will ask you to log in with your Kean email, username, and password. Definitely when you're off campus, it will ask you to log in. But since I'm on campus right now, this book did not ask me to log in, but here I am able to access the entire book right on the computer screen. So what I can do here is browse around, either go page by page through the book, or I do have the table of contents on the left-hand side, and I can just jump around through the different chapters. So this is one example of an ebook that's available to us through the Learning Commons at Kean University. But it's likely when you run searches for keywords for various topics, you'll find that you have other options available to you as well, perhaps in both ebook or print book option. So for instance, I could revise the search that we did initially. I do have the original search at the top of the screen here, or I could just click on the Kean logo and go back to the original homepage. Either way will be fine. But what I could do I will go back to the home page, is maybe this time try a quick keyword search that maybe would be helpful for a class that I'm working on for the first year. So for instance, imagine that you're a student in a course like general psychology and you're doing a research paper and you have a topic. Maybe you want to focus on the impact of sleep on college students, or perhaps the impact of lack of sleep on college students. So we could always just do a search in WorldCat Discovery. I will keep it pretty simple at this point, maybe focusing on the main keywords. So for instance, sleep, and then college students. And in this case, I am going to put quotation marks around the words college students. So I'm trying to direct the database to look for that exact phrase, college students. But then I also have the word sleep in here. And notice how I'm just doing this search like a Google type of search. I'm not doing anything really fancy with my search strategies. I don't even have to put the word and in between my search terms. I'm just typing in the keywords, run the search, and then likely, yes, I am getting an awful lot of results. Here I have over 5,000 results for things that are apparently available through the Kean University library collection. So as I scroll down, I do see we have, here's a book. It looks like it's an ebook that has an access online option. Here's another ebook, and so on. So I am getting books, but I'm sure as I scroll down, well, in fact, here's another type of record. This one's actually an e-video, and it has a View Now button, which I can click, and then just click on one of the database options that are provided, and it brings me to a database that provides the video that I can view whether I'm on campus or off campus. If I happen to be off campus, it will just ask me to log in with my Kean email username and password. So as you can see, we do get video records showing up in our result list, which can be very helpful for those of us who are visual learners. But here's an article. So you are getting different types of information showing up in the result list. Now, it could be that maybe you're mainly focusing on trying to find books or ebooks, and maybe you don't want to spend lots of time browsing through the 5,000 results that are originally showing on the list. So what you could always do is to utilize the filter options that appear along the left-hand side of the screen. So I had to scroll back up to the top. And as I scroll down, I do see that I have options for filtering the search results. So for instance, if I want to focus on ebooks, I could click that checkbox. If I want to focus on print books or e-videos, I have these options here on the left. For some courses that you take, such as general psychology or maybe worlds of history, other courses as well, you may need to focus on finding articles or journal articles. So you do have that option as well. You can click on article, or even better yet, if your professor tells you that you need to find peer-reviewed journal articles or very scholarly journal articles, there is an option on the left in the section labeled content type where you can click peer-reviewed. And what happens next is the database will remove all of the book and ebook and video records and show you only articles that were published in scholarly peer-reviewed journals, meaning these articles were reviewed by other experts in the same academic discipline of the authors. So they are reviewed by experts, critiqued, and maybe sent back to the authors for changes and improvements, and then they are finally published once they go through that whole peer review process. So this is the way for you to find articles that discuss research studies that were done by the authors. So they're very scholarly, and we are getting a number of journal articles that are peer reviewed, and if any of them look interesting, you could always click on the View Full Text button, which is likely there, and then just choose one of the database links that are provided. And then it's a quick way for you to access the full text journal article. So here's the article record in another database, and here's the PDF full text link. So a quick way for you to access research articles done by scholars, and these are the types of articles that will serve you well in a lot of your courses in the first year and beyond. And then once you're looking at the article, you could always download it onto your computer or other device. You can email it to yourself and so on. And a lot of these databases will also give you help with the citation style. So for instance, if you are writing a paper or preparing a presentation, and if you use any of the information that you find in an article or a book or ebook, you always need to give credit to the source, give credit to the authors of that source. So you want to make sure that you keep track of your resources as you find them. A handy way to do that would be to use the email option, which appears in the databases. And as you're filling out the email form, check to see if there's a citation format menu where you can select the citation style that you're using, whether it's APA or MLA or Chicago. You can choose your citation style, click send, and the database will send you the article, the full text article as an attachment, and the email message will include the article information formatted for you in whichever style that you select. So that will help you as you're creating your works cited page or your references page. So definitely take advantage of those citation help options that appear in various databases. In fact, we even had that type of help back on the original result list for WorldCat Discovery. Each record on the WorldCat list has these buttons in the top right corner, including the Cite button, where you can choose your favorite or required citation style. And then you could always copy and paste this into a Google Doc or into a Word document. But it does give you a bit of a warning here that you need to inspect the citation for missing data, indentation, formatting, and so on when you're copying and pasting it somewhere. These cited references are all computer generated. They may not be perfectly formatted. Hopefully they're pretty close, but you may need to clean it up a little bit. And at quick glance, I do notice that there is a little bit of a problem here. Although the capitalization in the article title for APA style, which is what I had selected, is almost correct, I do need to fix the C in the word college. That would need to be capitalized. That's the first word of the subtitle. But the rest of it actually looks pretty good. So you definitely do want to proofread it, maybe check it against something like the Purdue OWL website or other online websites that can give you examples of how to cite different sources. So definitely use the citation help, but look at it, review it, make any corrections. There's even a share button here in the WorldCat record where you can click. It gives you the little email form, and then you can fill that out and send yourself the record as well. So WorldCat Discovery right here on the Learning Commons website, I think will be very helpful for a lot of your courses in the first year and beyond. It's a quick and easy way to do a search and see if we have the books you need, the articles you need, even videos. And if you do have questions when you're trying to use it, you could always reach out to a librarian and we'll always try our best to help you. We have so many resources that are available to you. Sometimes it's just a matter of figuring out what keywords will work best for you. So that's something that the librarians can help with. But we do have lots of other resources that are available to you for your courses and other work that you're doing at Kean. And I would like to highlight a few databases in particular that I think will help with some of the classes that you're likely taking during your first year here at Kean. So for instance, just below the WorldCat Discovery search bar, there is a line of links. And the one that I'd like to focus on during this session is the one labeled Databases A to Z. The thing is, WorldCat Discovery does not connect to all of our library databases. It connects to some of them, but not all of them. So by utilizing some of the options available through the databases A to Z, you can make sure that you can access even more information and the best information you need for various projects. So if we click on databases A to Z, You land on a page that has a really long list of databases. At the moment, we have 275 databases on this page, but that number changes all the time as we add or remove databases. We do see them listed alphabetically. So if you do have a favorite database that you use all the time, or if your professor recommends that you use a specific database, you could always access that database through the alphabetical menu. For instance, I've seen that a lot of the history professors teaching the Worlds of History course often recommend that their students use JSTOR. So we would find that under J, and then JSTOR is just listed here in alphabetical order. You can click in, run searches for your topics, and then get lots of scholarly articles for various topics, not just for history, but for a lot of other subject areas as well. I'm just going to go back. And then we have others if you like to use the ProQuest databases, we have those listed under P and so on. So you also have some popular databases that you might want to explore on the right side of the screen, including we have access to the Star Ledger newspaper and even to the New York Times. So they're listed here on the right, along with some others. But if you scroll back up, we do have these databases that are listed in several different ways. So we have these buttons above the alphabetical menu. We have a button for all subjects, so there's a drop-down menu, and then there's another button for all database types. So for instance, under all subjects, if you click, you can always locate the subject area for courses that you're taking and then find a list of the databases that we recommend for research for that course. So for instance, if you are taking general psychology during your first year, you could always scroll down and click on psychology. And then what you'll get is a smaller list of the databases that we consider to be the best bets for research in psychology. And thankfully, each database does have a description, so that description can hopefully guide the selection of databases, the ones that you choose to do your research. So for instance, the EBSCO host psychology resources would be a good option for the general psych class, but we also have some of the EBSCO databases like Psych Articles and Psych Info. They both happen to provide access to scholarly peer-reviewed articles from journals published by the American Psychological Association. So those would be good database options for the general psych class. There's even a database called Psychology Database from ProQuest that would be a really good option. But we're not going to get into those really specific databases today, but I just wanted you to see that you could choose the subject area. So even if you're taking art history, you can see the databases that tend to work well for art history and for other subjects. I'm not going to go through every single database today, but I did want to highlight a few databases that I think will be helpful for some of the courses you may be taking this semester. So for instance, I know that courses like college composition um, and even the speech communication as critical citizenship course often have assignments where students need to get information, maybe background information on different topics. For instance, the speech communication class has an informative speech. And there are some databases here that would help with that type of assignment. If you need to get background information, maybe not necessarily journal articles or entire books, but maybe some quick background information on a topic. And students often do quite well by looking for some of the databases that provide access to subject encyclopedia articles. So for instance, in this case, I'd recommend that we use the All Database Types menu. So that's here above the alphabetical menu in the center of the screen. If we click All Database Types, and then on this list of database types, we have a category for encyclopedias. When we click, we'll see that we do have some of the big general encyclopedias like Encyclopedia Britannica, the Funk and Wagnalls Encyclopedia, But the ones that I would like to highlight, the databases I'd like to highlight are the ones listed at the bottom of the encyclopedias list. We have the Gale eBooks database as well as the Sage Knowledge database. And these two databases are different from Britannica and Funk and Wagnalls because they provide access to subject-focused encyclopedias and not just general encyclopedias that cover a little bit of everything. So basically, if you're taking a course like speech communication, where you're trying to give an informative, you're preparing to give an informative speech about a particular topic, you may find that there's some really good information in a subject encyclopedia about your topic. So for instance, if we were to click on the Gale eBooks database, and maybe you're giving an informative speech on say like the history of hip hop or something. You could always run a keyword search for hip hop in this database. Maybe you're doing an assignment for a different course, like Worlds of History, where you're exploring Dr. Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. So you could run a quick search for the title of the speech. So here it's actually coming up, I Have a Dream speech. Run the search, and what you get on the result list are articles that were originally published in different subject encyclopedias. So here we have the first one, From Segregation to Civil Rights, I Have a Dream speech, that was originally published in the Gale Encyclopedia of American Law. There's another one, the second item on the list, that's I Have a Dream, Martin Luther King Jr., 1963, and it's from the Encyclopedia of African American Culture and History. And then there's another one that looks like a biography of Dr. King that's from the St. James Encyclopedia of Popular Culture. So what often happens is you get articles about a topic that were published in different subject area encyclopedias. So the first one is a law encyclopedia. The second one is an encyclopedia focusing on African American culture and history. So you get different a view of the topic from different subject area perspectives, which can be really helpful when you're preparing an informative speech or an essay or another type of assignment. So this one actually looks like, oh my goodness, for some reason the text was suppressed due to author restrictions. Okay, that's an odd example. Sorry about that. I'll go back and I'll click on the first one. I'll have to look into what was going on with that first example. So here we have the actual, the full text article, which looks like it does include the text of Dr. King's speech. So you do have this article that you can use as you're writing a paper. You can add quotes or paraphrase, but definitely give credit to the source. And you do have the citation help, which I see it's up here in the very top right corner of the screen if you click on Cite, and you can choose your citation style, whether it's MLA, APA, Chicago, and so on. So you can copy it and paste it, but definitely proofread it. And you can generally download the article as well, or print it or email it to yourself. So you have these different options. So I would say that this Gale database is similar to the other one that I mentioned called Sage Knowledge, and that they both provide access to these subject encyclopedia articles. So they're great options for exploring background information about your topics and quickly getting up to speed. And this can certainly be helpful when you're doing some of the assignments that you do during your first year courses. And definitely when you have questions about these or other databases, I keep saying, please reach out for help. That's why the librarians are here. But I'm just going to go back on the databases page. I'm going to click where it says clear filters, browse all databases, and go back to the original listing of the 275 databases. Now, there are a few other databases that I would like to highlight because I think they do provide some fantastic resources relevant for typical first year courses. For instance, I'm aware that students taking the speech communication class usually do a persuasive speech, and I believe that students in the college composition course write an argumentative essay. And in both of these cases, the persuasive speech and the argumentative essay, it's typical that you would be providing a point of view, like, making the case for one point of view, arguing for one point of view versus another point of view, like different sides of a controversial topic, perhaps. And it's so, we actually do have some databases that can help you to get information about the different points of view on controversial or current topics. In this case here, if you do not know the names of these databases, what you could do is click on the All Database Types drop-down menu, and then just scroll down until you see the category for pro-con information. So pro/con information. Just click on it, and you'll see that we have two databases that can help with this pro-con category of information. We have Issues and Controversies. We also have Points of View Reference Center, and both of them are quite similar, but they can be very helpful. If you explore both, you can get lots of information. So for instance, if we click on Issues and Controversies, the first one, you land on the home page for this database. So they often have a highlighted topic right on the top of the page. And then there'll be some of the topics that are in the news right now. So climate change, social media, mental health, and so on. And you can scroll over to see some of the others that are appearing. There's a little menu on the right that you can click into, including the all pro-con articles A to Z, like a big alphabetical menu. But what I often like to do is just to scroll down a little bit, and we see some of the popular issues that are showing up. And then here we have the menu for all issues by subject area. And this can be very helpful. Maybe if you're not sure about the keywords, or you want to just to explore topic ideas and just see what you want to focus on. So for instance, if we maybe want to focus on something relating to artificial intelligence or ChatGPT and so on. So you could always run a keyword search up at the top of the screen, but in the subject area menu, I would probably click on the category for science, technology, and computers. Or maybe we could look under education. You might have to try it in different ways. But sure enough, under the Science, Technology, and Computers category on the menu in this area, there is a link for artificial intelligence, but you might see some other topics that interest you. But here, when we click on artificial intelligence, it's calling up a list of articles that are picking up on the words artificial intelligence. So actually, the second one is called Artificial Intelligence, AI. Could AI pose a danger to humankind? And apparently it's going to give us what the supporters of AI are arguing, and then what the opponents of AI are arguing. So if we click on the link for the title, that's where you get into where the main article appears. Again, you have the little boxes that give you what the supporters are saying, what the opponents are saying. But as you scroll down, that's where you get the rest of the article, and so on. So an overview, you get some statistics and data, so you have the full text. There's even a table of contents menu on the right, so you can jump around to what the supporters are arguing. And this is where it's more fleshed out. There's more content here, and then what the opponents are arguing, and so on. So you have lots of ideas that you can incorporate into your persuasive speech or your argumentative essay. Definitely give credit to the source though. You want to keep track of the source that you're finding. And across the top of the article, you do have the citation help. You can click share and then email it to yourself or get the link for the article and so on. But I think that when you are doing something like a persuasive speech or an argumentative essay, it's very important to know what someone who's arguing from the other point of view would be saying. So this type of pro-con article can be very helpful for that type of assignment. Um, I would just be aware that this type of article tends to be like a magazine article. It's not a scholarly peer-reviewed article like the one that we saw earlier in the session. This is more like a magazine, and the reason why I say this, more like a magazine article, is because when you scroll down to the bottom, there is a bibliography where they list the sources used, and a lot of the sources here are like newspaper articles, like from the Washington Post, or websites for different organizations, newspaper articles again, websites. So we're not seeing that they're using scholarly peer-reviewed articles as sources. So that's a sign that this in itself is not a peer-reviewed journal article, but it's more like a well-researched magazine article. So I would just keep that in mind. And I think that you would find similar types of articles in the Points of View Reference Center database, which even though it's coming to us from a completely different company, it actually has a similar layout with the search box up top, the topics that are in the news, and then the browse by category, where once again you can go to like wherever the technology area is, likely down below. Yeah, there's a technology area, but then you can also browse in the other subject areas if something different interests you, like arts and culture, animal welfare, censorship, and so on. If it has the little more button, it'll show you a few additional resources. So again, you can just click into these articles and then you'll likely get the different points of view about these current or controversial topics. So, these are hopefully going to be really good sources for these classes that we've been talking about. But once again, this would not be giving you peer-reviewed journal articles, but articles that are more like magazine articles, well-researched magazine articles. But as I have said earlier, if you do have questions about which databases you might want to try, which databases the librarians could recommend for your different assignments, please do reach out to us. We realize that we have so many databases right now that it can be quite overwhelming. I do get overwhelmed myself, but sometimes I just try different options and see how it goes. And I do like to utilize the subject drop-down menu or the database types menu to steer me in the direction to the databases that would be most helpful for me. And in fact, the database types menu has lots of other options. So if you are looking for career information, or country studies or statistics, you have all of these categories listed here. So you always can explore on your own, but ask for help when you need it. But I would like to focus on one last database before we finish up. And I do realize that I am covering a lot of information, but as I said, I encourage you to explore on your own. But I just want to give you an idea of what you can use for different assignments that you may have during your first semester here at Kean. And it's likely that you will have at least a few assignments that will require you to search for and find peer-reviewed journal articles, like scholarly articles. We have so many databases that can help you with that type of research. And you could always go through the subject menu to find and identify the databases that would be excellent for specific subject areas. But a lot of first-year students often do quite well with the second database that's listed on the alphabetical menu. We have the database called Academic Search Premier. It's the second one on the alphabetical list. And Academic Search Premier happens to be coming to us from the EBSCO host database, which some students may have had access to even in high school. So this may look familiar to some of you, but even if you haven't used this database before, I do hope that you'll find it to be pretty user-friendly. The trick with using a database like this one, though, many of the library databases, especially the ones from the EBSCO host company, do work best if you connect your keywords with the word "and." So earlier on, when we did some searches, we were just typing in keywords and not doing anything special with the way we tied those keywords together. We were doing more like Google searches earlier on. But here, I think you'll have a lot more success if you connect your keywords with the word "and." So for instance, if we go back to the topic that I mentioned earlier about like the impact of lack of sleep on college students, this might be a good example for that type of search. I wouldn't necessarily type in that long phrase or a sentence or a question, but I would instead focus on the main keywords. So in this case, I'll do sleep and college students. I could add more words, but for now I just want to start with this, but I am putting the word "and" in between my keywords, and I'm simply telling the database to look for all of the words I've typed in. So definitely I want to find articles that mention the word sleep, but I definitely want to find the words or the phrase college students. And if I do want to force the database to find that exact phrase, I can always put quotation marks around it. It'll work without the quotes, but the quotes can be helpful sometimes to steer you in the right direction. So here, sleep and college students is giving me over 1,500 articles and other types of records. That's a lot of articles to go through. I would certainly maybe try to add in some additional words. Maybe if I want to focus on academic performance, like how does sleep impact academic performance in college students? So I would just add in "and academic performance." And again, if I want to put the quotes around, I could do that. It's working okay without the quotes. I'm still getting 176 articles. So yeah, it's a lot of articles to look at, but if you do need to focus on peer-reviewed articles, you do have the limit option on the left. You can click peer-reviewed. And then on the left, you could even adjust the date range. So there is a little section on the left where you have the publication date range. We apparently do have an article on this list that was published way back in the year 2000. But if we need only the last 10 years or the last 5 years, we could adjust the date range. That'll make the list a little smaller. And then hopefully what you'll find is that you're finding article records, most of which will include full text links, various types of full text links. So if you click on the title for the article, you can get a quick abstract. So here we have one that's focusing on sleep quality, academic performance. Oh, and this one's focusing on cell phone use. So how that might impact like sleep quality. If you click on the title and scroll down, you have a little 1-paragraph abstract that describes the study that was done by these authors. You could get a sense of whether or not this article is relevant for what you're trying to do. And then if the full text link is there, you just click on that link. And then here's the full text. So this one happened to have been a linked full text article. So it actually linked me out to a completely different database, but I am accessing the full text. And there will be other options on your original result list that just have the PDF full text link. So that's pretty straightforward as well. You can just click and access, and then from here you can download, print, email, and so on. And occasionally you will find on the original list different types of full text options, like this full text finder appears in some cases. And when you click on that, it should link you out to the full text in a different database. But if you do get the little sad face like I'm seeing here, just click open the page in a new window, and usually that will just open up the page where you can access the article. So we just need to look for the PDF. Here it is over here. So we do have so many articles that are available to us right now. It can be a little bit overwhelming, but if you try to use keywords that are relevant for your search and maybe try combining them with other words to narrow down your results, hopefully you'll find that you're getting really good articles to support the research that you're doing for your various courses and your different assignments. But as I mentioned earlier, if you are running into problems, if you need help, we are always happy to help. The librarians are here. We want to work with you. So just let us know, reach out to us, and we'll try our best to help you out. It's likely that we will have workshops with some of your classes along the way. For instance, we do library workshops for the Transition to Kean course. Those will likely take place later in the fall semester, but you could always reach out to us before then. But certainly take advantage of the help options that are available on our website, the chat button that was here, the chat window that's in the bottom right corner. Click on Ask Us in the top right, and you could even see an FAQ, or click Make a Research Appointment. But you could also reach out to us by email, call us. In fact, let me just show you the screen that has my contact information. So you could always reach out to me at lcifelli@kean.edu, or we have the library@kean.edu email address that's monitored by several of the Kean librarians. So please let us know if you need help, but we hope that you'll have a great semester and that you'll be able to use the Learning Commons to get the learning support and the research support you need, and to use our library collections to gather all of the information that you need for various assignments, but also for other information needs for your work life, for your personal life, and so on. So please do reach out. And again, thank you for viewing this webinar. Just let us know if you have questions. Thank you and have a great day.